Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to the Angry Chicken, the podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and joining me, as it always should be, damn it, is Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Guys, the three of us have not formed the trifecta that is TAC in quite a while. Welcome back.
I know, I missed out on Nerdtacular. It was sad face. Very, very sad, but you know, I'm done with all my moving crap, so at least I got something productive done in the meantime. But yeah, it was, you know, everyone was like talking about how amazing it was, the greatest thing ever, and I'm just sitting there like, can somebody please tell me that it was the worst year ever and just not that much cool stuff happened this year?
We hated every single second. It was just terrible, awful, horrible.
I heard that the burrito prices went up quite a bit, so at least, you know, I know one thing went wrong.
The burrito prices went up, there was no moth infestation, and at least for me, Dills, if this makes you feel better, I didn't get to stay in the fancy-ass Cliff Lodge, I just stayed in the lodge, so I had to walk uphill first thing in the morning.
The regular-ass lodge?
Yeah, the regular one that's downhill from...
Second-class citizen, and we didn't let him forget it the whole time.
So, guys...
so you were down, like you had to walk down the hill?
I had to walk up the hill to the convention every morning, so I had to start my morning by walking uphill, and guys, let me inform you, Snowbird is at what, 5,000 feet above sea level or something?
I think it's 8,000.
Yeah, you get exhausted after like the first set of small stairs.
Yeah. Okay.
Because actually, all three of us live at sea level.
Yeah. I live in the sea. Under the Sea is a true song about where I live. So yeah, I was.
The sea also about Florida.
Yeah, I was not doing well. I was not doing well at all. Every morning I would get up there and get to breakfast with somebody, and it was Jocelyn or Jury or someone would just look at me and go, "You don't look well." I'm like, I don't feel well.
There's like normal in shape, and then there's Utah in shape, which I guess is just a different thing. Like I couldn't, if I was there, I would not jog. I wouldn't work out. I just no. I would become obese and just sit there and just eat potato chips and play
some crazy people
video games
that are just like doing like hikes up the mountain every morning and going for runs and stuff. And they're just like, okay, whoa, like
Veronica Belmont. I saw all these. Like, she was like constantly on a hike. What the hell?
I was just sitting.
Like every time I'm there, I'm like, no. Like we're going to the bar, right?
Yeah.
I was trying to spend as much time as I possibly could sitting with a gin and tonic. That was my goal.
What happened to the apple teenies?
Apple teenies. It was just, you know, at a certain point, it's just like too sweet.
All right. Next time I see you though, I'm buying you an apple teeny.
And I kept getting taffy.
My chance at Nerdtacular.
Every time I turned around, I had a new thing of taffy in my hand, so all my sugar intake was already taken care of.
Taffy. Okay.
Yeah, it was this nice gentleman.
Old school, huh?
There's this nice gentleman running around giving away fantastic saltwater taffy.
He was the taffy guy from Morning Stream.
Yeah, and then
Morning Stream. Okay,
Yeah.
I ended up on the plane on the way home with like a 6-hour flight, and I was starving. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't bring any food, and I reached in my pocket. I'm like, oh my god, taffy. Yes.
Surprise taffy is best taffy.
You're damn right.
So Mitsula says they had $5 beer and a shot at the Tram Club. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
sounds dangerous and awesome all at the same time.
At the Mexican restaurant, they had a drink called the Angry Chicken.
Oh, really?
And it was terrible.
Wait. So did they tell them that they should have drinks based on all the shows? Was there
they had
a morning stream or something?
They had three drinks.
It was the dude who was there last year who served us. I think it was when we did my birthday. He's the guy who's like way into WoW, way into Hearthstone. He's the bartender. Mm-hmm. So he made For the Horde, an Angry Chicken, and what was the third one?
Dr. Boom.
Dr. Boom, that's right.
Dr. Boom was the best one. If you ordered a Dr. Boom, you got a beer, and the guy sitting to your left and the guy sitting to your right got a shot of Jaeger.
Okay. I would prefer if I just got those shots of Jaeger, but all right. I was actually, so one of the ideas I have when I switch to Austin and I start streaming more regularly is that I'm going to start doing like kind of a cocktail hour type of show, like a happy hour with Dills type of thing. I'm going to make like a Hearthstone themed drink, and then I'll tell like subs or whatever, some sort of special people what that drink is gonna be, so they can get the ingredients beforehand, and then we can all like drink it together. And I was thinking of the Dr. Boom, and I was like, Dr. Boom would be like what I was picturing was like some sort of like an Irish car bomb type of thing, but with 2 shots. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
So you drop the first boom bot and the second boom bot, but I'm like trying to figure out how to randomize what happens when you drop them in. So like somehow
Random
like
shots, dude. Random shots.
Yeah, there you go. So
just
like roll
line
a
up
die.
a whole bunch of bottles. Yeah, get 6 bottles and just roll the die.
Yeah.
You
So,
just
like,
use
every
a
time you
bunch
drop
of
them in, something random happens.
Yeah.
you use a bunch of like amber colored liquors, but you just pour them all and you mix up the shot glasses so you don't know what is what. So it's like, oh, I got whiskey and rum, or I got tequila.
With that,
and
though, some of those combinations will be just awful. But I guess
I would argue that any type of car bomb
for one. Yeah.
I was about to say I would argue that any type of car bomb situation is just awful. I did that stuff in college. I never want to drop anything into a beer and chug it again. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, there's a drink called the Flaming Dr. Pepper. So I'm thinking of making like the Flaming
You're
Dr.
gonna
Boom.
put fire into this equation too.
Yeah. So the Flaming Dr. Boom could be a Flaming Dr. Pepper with just 2 shots instead of, I don't know.
Why stop there,
all
man?
All sorts of stuff is gonna happen.
Why not just light a cherry bomb, drop it in, and chug it so fast?
So here's what you do: you shoot
to...
yourself in the face, and then you slam.
I was gonna say you chug it so fast that you hope that you extinguish the fuse in time, but who knows? It might not happen. It's random.
Look, dude, boom bots are dangerous, man. You can't, whatever.
Oh, jeez, that just
unless
sounds...
they nerf them, then then we'll change things. But for now, the Flaming Dr. Boom should probably kill you half the time, right?
I don't like where this is going at all.
No,
not at all, man. So that'll be fun. But you're giving me ideas for what the house drink will be at the wedding. So thanks, Dills.
There you go. All right.
Thank you very
Flaming
much.
Dr. Boobs.
So. Waiting on your RSVPs, guys. Just saying.
Yeah, you might not want to be there because we might be shooting you in the face for Flaming Dr. Boobs.
I don't know how this happened. That sounds like it'd be more like a big game hunter.
Yeah, here you go. So the Dr. Boom drink should have been where the bartender gives you a beer and then takes 2 shots and just throws them randomly at the patrons of the bar. He just closes his eyes and just goes, ah! It just launches 2 boom shots.
Everyone out there, can you tell that we missed each other? Can you tell?
Yeah, just a little.
We didn't have a chance to hang out. By the way, boom shots. That's what they're called too. They're Dr. Flaming Boom has boom shots, not boom bots.
I feel like Dr. Pepper now has to be included in whatever the Dr. Boom is because it just makes sense.
Yeah,
because you need the doctor.
Well, actually, though, the Flaming Dr. Pepper actually has no Dr. Pepper in it. So it's a weird thing. Have you guys heard of this drink?
No.
Okay, so it's amaretto in a shot glass with a little 151 that you like kind of put in it sits on the top, and then that lights on fire. So that catches on fire, and then you drop it into like cheap beer, and you just chug the whole thing, and it tastes exactly like Dr. Pepper. Yeah, it tastes like exactly like a Dr. Pepper.
Way late one night. Yeah, but I think I've had that.
They get you messed up real fast. So.
Well, the effect is you don't remember if you had it or not. So
exactly. So I must have.
Like, I could have had it, could have not. We don't know. No one will ever know.
Yeah, things always start to taste like other things late in the evening.
That's nothing. If you just drink enough beer, then it'll start to taste like whatever you want.
Someone could say, hey, Jocelyn, this tastes like Dr. Pepper. And I'd be like, yeah, it does.
Everyone's had that drinking experience where you can, like, the night ended badly, but you remember exactly what drink went wrong. Like
it's usually tequila.
Where it went wrong. Yeah, it is usually tequila. For me, it was my cousin buying what was called a salted chocolate pretzel shot, and it tasted exactly like what the name was, and that was the end of the evening for me.
I don't want anything.
That was it.
I don't want that.
Done. Yeah. Out. I'm
It's the one thing I will not do on my stream when I start doing this. I will not have anything with cream and sweet chocolate. No, we're not. No. We're drinking.
The only time cream is okay is if it's Bailey's and coffee or hot chocolate and it's a holiday.
I can do a little Bailey's, but it has to be like a little bit. You
can't do a lot.
Yeah.
It's too sweet. Yeah. It's boo. So, this is our Alcoholics Intervention episode of the Angry Chicken.
Tangent and a half.
Oh, I don't give a crap. It's good to be back with you guys. It's sad that we're not in the same room with a live audience. That's always fun. I miss that. That's always a good time with Hammond from Beyond the Playlist just kicking the door in and abandoning poor Daryl at Grumpy Cast for a good 10 minutes just to do a joke. That was wonderful. So thank you, Hammond. Anyways, guys, it's another episode of the Angry Chicken. If you haven't noticed, this is episode 97, so we are very close to episode 100. And actually, we figured it out. It looks like episode 100 is going to be on Monday, August 31st. So
correct.
With that in mind,
we actually did the math.
It is. We counted to 3.
They did the math. Yep.
We counted the 3 on Mondays, and found out that indeed, if we don't do a patron hangout episode, the 100th episode will be on the 31st. So that means we're gonna bump August's patron hangout to September 1st, so we don't screw up our timeline here. So yeah, episode 101 will be the patron hangout for August, but episode 100 will be August 31st on a Monday, 10 p.m. as always. We'll be dressed in our finest getup. Yeah?
Or naked.
Or naked.
We're figuring that out.
Yeah, you know.
Patron vote?
Either way, there will be bow ties, by the way. Either way, a bow tie will be worn. It's
all
just,
right, I can do a bow tie.
Will a shirt be on underneath it?
I even have a bow tie.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Thank you, Luke. Great.
So, folks, since the 100th episode is coming up, we want to hear from you guys. So, record yourself informing us why you love or hate, preferably love, but maybe if you hate us, it'd be funny. Record that and send it into tacpodcast@gmail.com. Send your thoughts and questions and comments and whatever. However you want to celebrate the 100th episode of The Angry Chicken, record it and send it in. And also, feel free to cut out your favorite clips from past episodes of The Angry Chicken and send those in as well.
If there's a moment that you enjoyed or something like that, like we're taking audio submissions because we want to play them. We want you guys to be a part of this 100th episode. So, you know, we read your emails all the time, but we want you guys to get a chance to be on it, similar to our Patreon episodes.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect opportunity. If you've always wanted to say something to thousands of people, then you get to do it.
And you, yeah. And we're going to hopefully have some guests on and whatnot. And usually we're super professional about getting guests on. We go to Blizzard through PR and we tell them a nice email like, hey, we'd like to have this guest on for this reason. Here's a bunch of questions. I'm not going to do this time. Youngwoo, Ben Brode, if you're listening, you're invited on the 100th episode. Yeah. Please show up.
We want you on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just dogpile on. We're not going to ask you a bunch of questions about the grand tournament. We just want to hang out and have fun about Hearthstone. So
if they can't, you know what they could do though too. They could record something and send it to us.
That is also very true. That is also very true.
I mean, I'd prefer them on the show, but you know.
I've already got my favorite moment. Now that you just mentioned that, it's when Ben Brode got on just to tell me how wrong I was about Duplicate.
Pretty sure that's the only reason he came on that.
That made me so happy. Loved it.
He'd been holding it in.
Maybe now he'll send in, listen, guys, this is why there's no tournament mode. That's what I want to hear.
There you go. Yeah, Dodds. Yeah, Dodds get out. You know, he could send us something too. I talked to him at the announcement, and I said we should have you on the show, and he seemed very into it. So maybe that'll happen at some point too.
Yeah,
we shall see.
I only mention those two because they're the ones that bug us on Twitter the most. And when I say bug, I mean they actually admit that they listen to the show, which means a lot to us. But yeah, all of Team 5, feel free to just, let's get like 30 people in a Skype call and see if we can crash Skype. So that sounds like a good time.
Split, either way.
We have another announcement. Episode 100 will be our last episode of The Angry Chicken ever.
Because Skype will blacklist us.
That's it. No more Angry Chicken after that. I'm just kidding. That's not true. We're gonna do another 100 after that, probably.
I fully expect to be doing episode 3021 from the retirement home that I worked in high school.
We'll be talking about why we still don't have extra deck slots on that episode.
Or tournament mode.
We'll be asking for them to nerf Dr. Boom still by then. Yeah. Lots and lots of
So good. Well, with all of that in mind, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Just a reminder, folks, you can talk about everything we talked about today or submit your own stories over at tacpodcast.reddit.com. Obviously, the big news this week is Gamescom. Hearthstone was all over Gamescom this year. Actually, Blizzard was all over Gamescom this year. If you like any Blizzard game, even if you like only one game Blizzard has made, it probably had a ton of news at Gamescom. Now, maybe if you're Blackthorn or Rock and Roll Racing, you might have been left out. But other than that, holy crap, tons of StarCraft news, tons of Hearthstone news, tons of Heroes news, and of course the big WoW announcement. But
yeah,
it was good time to be a Blizzard fan.
Yeah, there was something about everything, and there was some disappointments as well from some of the people, but I don't think any of the Hearthstone stuff could be called a disappointment at all. We found out a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I would say any of the post big announcement Q&As for any of the games were pretty awful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Although
it was kind of funny because.
Sorry,
go ahead.
On Twitter, I guess CM Lore, I think, confirmed that there was like an internal miscommunication, at least for the Warcraft one. So basically, it was supposed to be more of a summary of what they've talked about as opposed to answering questions and giving more information. And that was something internal to Blizzard that was an issue. So that when some people were talking about it, it seemed more like new information when it wasn't going to be. Which was disappointing because I mean, like with all big announcements, there's like, but wait, what does that mean for that thing and this thing, and how's that going to work together? So I think there were a lot of fans that were wanting a lot more out of those presentations. So it was even more disappointing when all we got was a summary of things that we already knew, and especially from a lot of fan sites had interviews, and all the information was already out there. A lot of people, got up early or put aside time to see these Q&As, and there wasn't any new information. So.
Whoops.
Yeah, wrong expectations put out by Blizzard.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I don't think that we're like owed a whole bunch of details necessarily, especially for something that's announced that's not really even that close. But
Everyone's
they just
so
shouldn't have
excited.
announced that there was going to be some like in-depth Q&A. That was really the problem.
Yeah.
We didn't need an in-depth Q&A at all. There was no need for that. People just wanted it once they thought it was going to happen, and then suddenly they're like, "Oh, this isn't at all what I thought it was going to be." So that to me was like really what, like if you want to be disappointed about anything, it's that. So we got plenty of information though about all the games. I think like I'm satiated as a fan of all these games that I felt like I got plenty of information. Like,
oh yeah,
I didn't need more necessarily.
Absolutely, it was a mini BlizzCon, and now but they didn't just explode with so much information.
It was a larger BlizzCon.
Yeah, I was going to say.
If you're talking about non-Blizzard, so apparently it was like 8 halls or something like that.
Oh yeah, but I was talking about just the Blizzard information.
Just the Blizzard.
Yeah, I'm aware Gamescom is obscenely huge. I was talking about just from the Blizzard aspect of things, and I meant that as a compliment. This is a lot of Blizzard information about Blizzard IPs coming out. But now I'm stoked for BlizzCon now because. Now I know just enough to want to I just want to run into BlizzCon and hit all of the Warcraft panels because I have so many questions about the future of WoW, especially when they just sped right past. Oh yeah, and melee hunters. I'm like, wait, back it up, back it up. Well, you can't just run past that. But we'll see.
When they announced the weapon that hunters were getting, I was like,
yeah, me too.
I don't have spears anymore, yo.
Yeah, and that's when he goes.
I knew something was gonna happen.
Yeah, and that's when he goes. Oh, and survival hunters will be melee, and on to the next thing. I'm like, no, next thing. Stop and explain yourself. But whatever the case,
there used to be a melee hunter back in the day. If you played WoW a long time ago, you used to be able to dual wield like fist weapons and stuff. And there were people who ran. You actually had an ability that was a melee ability that you would use in PvP when you actually got like close enough to somebody, and you would actually hit them with this thing, and it would actually there was a slow or something effect on it, and then they just like got rid of all of that when they got rid of all the and we didn't really need them, we weren't using them, and people would try to play these weird melee hunter specs, and then it was just essentially like, okay, well we're not inviting you to a raid then. Is what would happen. So they just they went, all right, whatever. Raptor Strike, there you go. Thank you, Olazebs.
Oh man, I lived by Raptor Strike when I was leveling my hunter for the first time in Vanilla, and that's probably why I was terrible.
Attacked? Yeah,
I was so bad. I was so bad in Vanilla WoW, man. It was so horrible. Anyways, moving on with the Hearthstone
Back
stuff.
to Hearthstone, yeah.
They showed some new cards at Gamescom, but the big thing they put it all under the umbrella of a new, or not a new keyword, a new mechanic. Which is
there's no keyword on the card. It's just it explains it on every single card that has it.
Right. So it's called Joust, but it's not a keyword.
To me, it just means we're not going to get Joust cards in any other sets after this. Like I think I think they're saying that Joust, and then this is just going to live. You know, like how Magic will have like these kind of. This is a mechanic that only exists in this one set, really. But they always name it, usually.
I was actually on Yongwoo's stream this weekend, and I asked him about this because I had the exact same thought. And basically, what he said was that the Joust mechanic can be explained with few enough words that they were able to put it on cards, still explain what happens when you win, and it not be overwhelming. So they didn't feel that they needed a keyword. It doesn't mean that it's not coming back again.
Okay. But I feel like Inspire uses less words if you think about it. Because it could just say, use your
every
hero
time
power.
you use your hero power,
No, you just say, use your hero power.
Yeah.
Do this. Like, that's less words. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that. I think there's, that
I'm
sounds
just
like...
saying, I asked the question,
like
and that's
purpose.
the answer that I got. So
Sure.
Yeah, and
I don't think we're going to see this after this. That's my prediction.
And
it would be weird to have Joust outside of a tournament expansion.
Yeah.
Like, how do you add more? Although he did say they tried to put Joust in the name of the minion somehow. So like Joust, Jouster, whatever.
They're all like on mounts and stuff. All these.
And they're all mounted.
What
so
it also
we might see more.
I mean, what it also means though is that they could reuse this mechanic without it absolutely having to fit the flavor of a physical Joust. Like you could have all Wyverns now have the same mechanic, and we start calling it Wyvern for an expansion. But my point is, by not naming it Joust, they don't have to be married to the flavor of what it means.
Now, that being said, I have a little bone to pick with a few of these cards. And,
okay, but before we get into that, I know this is
a little off topic, but
before we get into that, we haven't even explained what it is for those who may not know.
True.
So, reiteration: it's not a visible keyword anywhere on the cards that they showed, but it is a consistent effect. There are a bunch of cards that have this in TGT. So, Joust minions cause both players to reveal a random minion from their deck when a Joust minion is played. If the player who played the Joust minion's revealed minion, I'm going to say minion a bunch of times in here. So you play a Joust minion, both of you reveal a card. It's always going to be a minion. If your minion costs more than the minion your opponent had revealed, you win the Joust and you get whatever the beneficial effect is. And there are clarifications of this as well. If you have a tie, meaning both minions cost the same amount of mana, you lose the Joust. If your opponent has no minions, you win. If you have no minions, you lose. And if you both have no minions, you lose. So you're actually like at a disadvantage. Like you have sort of kind of nothing really bad happens if you lose the Joust. You just don't get the beneficial effect. But a lot of these cards suck if you're not getting the beneficial effect.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
They don't all suck. They're all slightly below standard value, I would say, because like some of them are fine. Like there's a 5/5 for 5, right? And if you get the effect, it heals you for 7. So that doesn't mean like it sucks if you don't get it. It just means it's an undervalued card, right?
Yeah, but again, I mean, are you going to play that in your constructed deck that you?
Not if you don't think I'm going to win the Joust often enough. Yeah, absolutely. Like you have to feel like you're going to win the Joust a good enough percentage of the time, but you're not penalized in the same way as, like, say, Rend Blackhand if you play no dragons, right? Like, it's not that type of penalty for not being able to fulfill the Joust requirement and win. It's a slightly worse card than your average card in almost every case, but it's not like a terrible card if you don't win, and like they're just broken if you win, and then slightly below average if you don't win.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Which I guess makes sense because honestly, I mean, your statistical likelihood of winning a Joust isn't all that great.
Yeah, and it also depends on the meta that's out there, and there's just a lot of factors around it besides just what your deck is, right?
Yeah,
so
because everyone out there's like, oh my god, great! I'm just gonna put this in my control deck for against aggro decks, but the meta has to be incredibly consistent and in favor of aggro for this to really be worth it, for you to really just build around the Joust as a mechanic and that to be your win condition.
Now, that said, though, these cards are like I said, most of these cards are broken when you get the Joust effect. And since the latter rewards aggro, I get the feeling that playing Joust decks when you're at like rank 18 is going to have a pretty good win percentage. Because if people are still feeling like aggro is going to benefit them as far as like climbing the ladder quickly, playing a Joust deck that crushes all aggro is probably going to get you a pretty good win percentage. I mean, we still haven't seen the whole set list, obviously, so it's hard to say exactly, but it's just the sense I get. You know, when you can play a 6/5 with Taunt and Divine Shield, it's going to be hard for aggro to get through that. So
yeah,
you know, it feels like these are kind of like set to say, okay, is there a lot of aggro right now? Well, here's a way to stomp it. You know, and that to me means that like early on in the season, if you aren't a person who likes to go, oh, well, it's early in the season, so Face Hunter, Zoo, I'm trying to climb quickly, this is kind of a way to counteract what everyone else is doing. So it's kind of a cool thing.
So you're basically saying like where we already sit with tech cards like Black Knight and Harrison Jones, you now have kind of a sub-tribe of multiple
cards. You have a
cards.
tech deck that's all, it's like it's more anti-aggro options, essentially. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
but
good way
there's
to look
some weird
at it.
ones too. Like there's a 1-mana Joust card.
Yeah.
Probably won't be playing that one.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that a little bit
I was going to
later.
say, yeah, it's on the list for later.
Yeah. All of the Joust cards that were revealed are. We have a lot of cards to talk about. This might go long, so we should probably speed things up. Also announced for Hearthstone at Gamescom is new ranked play rewards. First up, a ranked chest, like a reward chest. And how that works is our quest logs are now going to display the highest rank that we have achieved during the given season. So say you go all the way up to 5 and then you go on a bad losing streak and you fall down to 10. You're still going to have that 5 rank on your ranked chest. So you're basically going to... They don't want you to be afraid to play more games if you're ranking high. This reward chest will always show the highest rank you achieve this season. And why that is a good thing is there's rewards inside. You have to go past rank 20 to start receiving these bonus rewards. But it's based on how high your rank is, so that ties into the reward chest. So you're going to be rewarded golden cards and dust, and the amount of both of those is going to vary. Well, actually, it's going to increase for players at higher ranks. Not necessarily. It looks like at higher ranks you get more gold cards and less dust, and lower ranks you get more.
But gold cards are worth more dust. So if you wanted to just get dust, you could dust them for.
Exactly.
You know? So, yeah. You're getting more stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just excited for gold cards because I've been trying to collect gold cards and it takes so friggin' long.
All the shinies.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. So they showed 2 examples at Gamescom. One was an example of rank 17. The rank 17 player received 1 golden card that was common rarity, 20 dust, and that season's card back. So you're going to see your card back for the season pop up when you crack this chest as well. And then they showed a rank 5 player receiving 3 golden cards. 2 were common, 1 was epic. They also got 5 dust and that season's card back. So kind of gives you a vague idea of how the scaling works.
So do you think that we're actually going to see golden cards that change rarity depending on what rank you are? Or do you think it's just like the point of that was to show they get like 1 gold card at rank 17 and 3 gold cards at rank, what was it, 5?
You know, it's too hard to really state because all we really know is what those 2 examples show. And I don't think out of 2 examples you can figure out what this system really is, you know?
Yeah.
No.
I feel like it's
gonna be a
probably
Reddit
just
thread
going to be
about it.
random. Yeah.
I get the feeling that there's a percentage chance of like legendaries, epics, and rares, and the higher rank you are, the higher percentages it is because you open more cards, right?
Yeah.
So similar to like a pack, you just have a percentage chance of this, this rarity. It feels like it's probably going to be that way because that just seems to make sense. But
it seems to be the way they tend to do things. I would be surprised if you were like guaranteed an epic or guaranteed a legendary at like rank 1 or something.
Yeah. By the way, this does stop at rank 5. Once you get to rank 5, whether you get the legend or whatever, rank 5 is you've gotten the highest thing you can get. So if you're someone who doesn't give a crap about legend, this was already confirmed. If you're someone who doesn't give a crap about legend, then rank 5 is your legend because that's when you get the most rewards you can out of it.
Well, that's good to hear.
because it gets grindy at that
Really?
point.
I was gonna say, so you don't get any more bonus stars. You don't get any
But
more
you get legends.
better rewards.
But this isn't aimed at
like
legend
halfway
players.
up the.
This is aimed at people who don't care about legend but want to like have an incentive for laddering, right? Which is a problem that people have been saying to Blizzard for a long time. It's like, well, if I don't get legend, if I don't care about that, all I do is I get to rank 20 and then I stop playing ladder. So this essentially means that from 20 to 5, there's still something to be earning, right?
Chat room is saying that you actually get more dust. So you get your 3 cards, your card back, and more dust.
Okay.
So it's not that it's
so this was
stops,
what
you get,
Worthen said on Twitter, and that was the last I saw of it. So maybe he changed, maybe he amended that.
Maybe he clarified or something. Yeah.
If all you're getting is more dust, though, that's a really low.
I don't really care.
Yeah, but
about
at least it's something. Like, at least it's not saying like anything that you do in the hardest, grindiest part of the ladder is not worth anything.
But to me, though, so if in my experience, if I'm at 5, the only reason I even care about 5 to legend is if legend is the goal, right? So I guess I could say like, oh, now there's a little bit more dust, but if I really care about dust, if that's my ultimate goal, I'm just gonna go play arena. I'm not gonna go, well, let's get to rank 4 from rank 5. Like, I'll just play arena.
Unless you're like getting like 500 dust for getting up to rank 4.
Unless it's some insane amount of dust, I guess.
Doing arena is way more time efficient.
Yeah, but I was totally okay with stopping it at 5 because to me, like these are the people that wanted a reward that weren't getting it. The people like in between those ranks who were just like, well, I just like to, I just play a little and eventually I get to this rank, or, I just stop at 20. These were the people who were feeling like ladder was an underwhelming experience and wasn't really rewarding. So to me, I was like, okay, cool. We're giving those people something to shoot for.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Now, at the risk of this becoming a longer conversation, we've talked about on the show before how I kind of think all three of us are in agreement that the ladder isn't a particularly great system.
Yep.
Yeah.
My immediate reaction to this was, crap, they're not going to change the awful ladder system anytime soon because they're now boiling this in on top of it. And
that was my exact same reaction.
I disagree. I don't think that this means anything about them changing the ladder system. I think this is something they're offering up to players. I don't think that these are like mutually exclusive. Like rewards mean we're not going to change the ladder system. To me, it just seems like them giving the community what the community's been asking for, and I think the community's still asking for a better ladder system. So
I was about to say, I saw this as them not giving the community what the community's been asking for.
They've been asking for this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
the community
more has rewards, been asking for this.
Yeah, more rewards for ladder has always been a thing.
Stuff,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think
but you're right,
in terms of like a ladder system, I think we've talked about it before, where we were looking for something a little bit closer to StarCraft. And it's so difficult because that basically relies on like seeding at the beginning of the season. And if they're going to reward based on the rank that you earn, then that becomes really tricky, because if they're going to automatically seed you somewhere higher than what they're doing right now, then they're kind of giving away more and more rewards for essentially free. So that was kind of the flag for me, is I'm like, well, if they're going to reward based on rank and you're going to start some legend players at say rank 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever, however they fix it, gold, platinum, whatever, however they fix it, if there's a reward tied to that and they're giving it away for free, that's where I think that's the flag for me, because I don't think that they do that. Like right now, where we're talking about at rank 16, 17, you get 1 card and your card back and a little bit of dust. That's not really a huge reward. Not going to flood anything. It's kind of fine. But then once you start talking about getting like 3 golden cards, a ton of dust, like that's when I think it gets a little bit tricky. So that's why I think we're probably not going to see any changes to the ladder. I hope we do, but
see, I don't know.
This made me go,
To me, I think what this is an easier change. I think this is just something that they can do that doesn't require an overhaul and a whole bunch of testing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that this means the other thing's not happening. It's just kind of like, if I need to change 2 things or whatever, and one's going to take forever, I'll probably sit and plan that out. And if I can just change this thing right away, then I'll just change it right away. But I don't think that means that just because I did this, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. And this is an easy enough thing to change later if they do feel like, oh, we need to alter this a little bit. It's not going to take too much to alter this.
Well, I mean, they
in
can't
the scenario
really,
that you're offering.
Yeah, they can't really change ladder either much before BlizzCon. Like, I mean,
No, they've already got a bunch of points being given out. It's true.
Yeah, exactly. So they can't make any big sweeping changes before November. They've got a really kind of small window every year if they do want to change ladder that kind of goes from when BlizzCon finishes until they start counting points again, which I think this year happened, was it February?
I can't remember when it started.
I can't remember either, but I feel like there was like kind of 2 months there that were just kind of no points.
Yeah.
And then they started the
season
season
again. Well, they didn't announce
so,
this version of it until, because remember last season it was people who'd gotten to a certain point were like eligible for their tournaments, right? So this was the first year of the actual points.
The points,
If you think about like Garrett, like if you think about what they're doing with Heroes, right? They've been in preseason forever, and they know they want to change it, but they can't really change it until they've tested thoroughly what they're going to do. Because once you change it, that's a really big change. You can't really go back on. So to be like, let's change this.
I agree.
Now, like I think they know that it's not right, but it's not going to happen.
My
point
let's
give them something while we're working on this.
My point is now we have this, and then if we change it to a seeded system, you can't have this, and then there's going to be a large group of the player base that would be mad that we lost this reward system in favor of what I think is a superior ranked system.
Okay.
So that's my concern. You both made a really excellent point. You can't really change the ladder system in the middle of the esports season for Hearthstone. That I get that.
But whether the seasons or not, though, you also just can't change it like just whenever people want to change. Like you can only change it when you've got a solid idea in place and it works and you've tested it and all that. So that's just a harder thing to change. Like esports season or not, it's just we're not going to get that. I don't think for. I hope at the beginning of next BlizzCon season. That would be a perfect time for it. But even then, I'm like, if they don't feel happy with it, they're not going to change it.
Yeah,
they're going to wait until they feel happy.
That's kind of my bigger point is like we've heard them mention changing ranked play in no way, shape, or form at all. Not even a hint dropped, and that does not excite me.
Yeah,
at all. I really dislike the system. I think it's trash.
So if these rewards somehow mean we can't, like, how is it that these rewards would then mean, like, there's no, like, I don't see how we can't just alter what the rewards are and just go, okay, well, so now if you're in this Legend League, we've changed these rewards. You still have to, like, play a certain amount of games or something to earn max rewards. It doesn't seem that hard to change, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you could just change the rewards to be, like, number of games played this season at this rank, right? That earns you like stepping up the ladder of these. Like to me, there's so many ways you can do this differently within many different systems that I don't see this as some indication that the ladder's not going to change. Like I get what you guys are both saying, but I guess I just looked at it a little bit differently.
Yeah, no, and I mean now that you say that, I can absolutely see that argument. Like we might just get a full-on, complete new ladder revamp that will include everything, and this is kind of like a stopgap in that process.
Yeah, this is like, hey, let's give them something because it clearly is not making everyone
ladder's
happy.
Not working.
So let's change what we can, and then we'll go back later and we'll fix everything.
Yeah.
Fair enough. If I could, I guess my final point is, I don't dislike the rewards. Obviously, I'm very excited about that. I want more Goldens like crazy. So if this is the ladder we're stuck with for a while, I like this new system. I just don't want to be stuck with this ladder for any longer than we have to be. So
Sure.
Anyway.
Okay, so I guess my last question is: Does this get you guys to play ranked more? Do you feel like you will now play ranked more than you would have before?
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, the only reason that I haven't been playing so much in the last few weeks is just mostly vacation stuff. Like, I mean, it's summer. So, but as soon as summer's over and I'm back into like my regular weekend schedules and all the rest of it, like I'm going to be ranking up for the sake of ranking up. For me, it's more about, I guess, the goal of Legend, like the prestige of the ranks. Like golden cards are awesome, but this, like, I mean, you mentioned, like, this isn't made for me. This is made for people to give them an incentive to get past that rank 20 where you just get your card back. Like now there's more to do and more to gain by continuing to play. For me, I want to get as high on the ladder as I possibly can, and this is bonus. This is an incentive.
Okay. What about you, Garrett? Because you kind of like me, I think, most of the time, where you just kind of just play when you want to play because it's fun to play.
Yeah, I just play when
whatever legend or whatever rank you get to is what you get to.
Yeah, lately I've been trying to be better about doing my dailies, so I've been doing even less ranked play than usual, and
I was going to say, that's what Tavern Brawl's for, especially when it's unlimited portals.
Oh, don't get me. I did not enjoy this last week's Brawl, and I'm not even sure why. I can't put a finger on it, but
I didn't either. This was the first one where you made your deck, and
I don't think I understood the theme they were going. Like, this seemed like they were grasping at straws to come up with an idea for a Brawl.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah,
it's the skies.
It was interesting a few times, and some cards were really good that weren't normally good. But
it was kind of interesting. I had a Shaman deck that actually I really liked, which was a change for me because Shaman's not normally a class that I played, but it was really effective in this Brawl, and so I was kind of like, all right, yeah, I can get behind Shaman. All right.
I just ran
a while.
I just ran a normal mid-range paladin. Like, I did nothing. I didn't know
how
to.
That's why I didn't like it. You got to get in there. And
yeah,
change
you have to.
stuff, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to get really into it and try to figure out the ones that aren't normally good.
You got to put Lil Exorcist into every deck.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Actually, like there were some interesting because like piloted shredders were they were like 3 cards in one because you got your piloted shredder and then a 2-drop came out of it and another 2-drop from the actual piloted shredder, and then both of those are actually not the one that came out of it because it was only cards you played, not cards that got summoned. But anyway, the card, so you still got like kind of this little stepping down, and there's some cards that were like much more valuable. But I don't know why I didn't like it as much as the other ones where you built the deck. I guess there wasn't enough appeal to it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to get me to rank more, if that's your question. I'm hesitant to say that. That said, I don't know. When I do really push it, 5's my goal because I don't have time to deal with the no win streak nonsense. I'm sorry, I don't have that many hours in my life. Yeah. So I like that. It looks like 5 is kind of the peak for the most part. I really don't care
for the
about
cards
dust,
anyway.
But yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I love the idea of more rewards. I'm not complaining about more rewards. I hope because save your emails. I'm still waving my picket sign for a better ranked system.
Yeah,
overall.
I agree.
So
I am too. I still think that the ranked ladder needs to be worked on, and if what you guys are saying, that would really suck because I would hope that this doesn't mean that they're not working on that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not going to convince me to necessarily rank more, but it will probably get me to like buckle down towards the end of the season if I'm not close to 5 because I'm going to want the max reward because of gold cards,
Yeah.
Normally, like for me, the way it works is that just regular play, I just end up at rank 5 by the end of the season, and that's usually when I just kind of stop whenever I get there because then, like you said, no win streaks just means that it just feels way grindier, right? So I just play here and there and whatever in stream and play a little bit, and then I start playing like funky weird decks around like the 16th because I'm like, okay, well, and then at some point I'm rank 5. So that won't change too much, but I might actually at the very end like grind for 5. It could happen.
I honestly don't really ladder hard until after the 15th because I don't want to deal with all the legend players that have been shoved down to my league. So
it's smart.
That's smart. Like, oh man, yeah, I could go on a tirade. I'm just like, just imagine the scenario, everyone. You play StarCraft. Do you suck like I do? Imagine all the Grandmasters just show up in bronze at the beginning of every month.
I know.
That's a terrible system.
Cool.
Why do we have that system here? Garrett out. So Mike Donais was interviewed by Icy Veins, and he let loose a bunch of tidbits. The most interesting was a statement he made about tournament mode. They asked him about tournament mode, and he said that tournament mode was going to come before Tavern Brawl, according to him, but he said, quote, "We decided that Tavern Brawl was something more people would enjoy."
Which is pretty much what we thought anyway.
More or less. I find this statement interesting because I'm just like, everything else I understand and have heard so far makes me, I'm under the understanding that tournament mode wasn't really being worked on. Other than, I'm obviously we've seen the glue _ tournament bug screen that everyone's ended up in. So I'm sure there's been a little bit of tinkering, but I haven't heard anything about tournament mode being worked on. So I don't know if his wording here, like, this is the first time I've heard a quote from Blizzard. I'm like, I don't know if that's what he meant. So
I mean, I think that they just weren't talking about tournament mode because there was no plans to release it, but it would be weird to me that this is not on their radar at all. So at least they acknowledge that it is.
Right. Now, I don't think tournament mode would be a big discussion right now outside of us because we just have a big hang up on it. But I think for the general populace, I don't even think it would be a mention right now if tournament wasn't in the title of the current expansion that's coming out. I don't even think people would be talking about it all that much.
Well,
but
a lot of people do want. I mean, if you go to like Reddit, a lot of people want.
Oh no, I'm talking about like Kotaku, who always gets their Blizzard articles wrong to begin with. I don't think they'd be running things about tournament mode being missing from Grand Tournament if tournament wasn't in the name of it. Tournament. Everyone take a drink. But I've said minions a lot this show and tournament a lot, but yeah. Other things he brought up. Apparently there are no immediate plans for spectator mode improvements. A little disappointed here, but I don't know. I can see how that's not maybe on the top of your list.
But at least he said no immediate plans. Not we have no plans to do this at this time. Because like with classes, they're like, oh no, we're not doing that. Like they essentially just like, nope. Don't hold your breath for the classes.
Really, all I want, just flip the cards up top. If you can see both of their hands, just flip them the cool. right way up top. That's really the only improvement I want. Thanks. There you go. But and there are some other interesting things, but we have a lot of cards to talk about. So let's jump right into it.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Oh, we got so many TGT cards, guys. It's not even funny, so let's jump right into it. We're going to start on the other end of the mana this time. We're going to start with low drops and work our way up because I can't sort by rarity because that's what I wanted to do, but it won't let me. So, sorry, guys. Starting at 1 mana, the Injured Cavaldeer, which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly.
Oh, that's
I think you did pretty well.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a 2/4 for 1 mana, and it's a
my God.
And it's a rare neutral minion. Holy crap! Oh wait, Battle Cry, deal 3 damage to this minion. Okay, all right.
All right. Now here is where when I was saying that I got a little bone to pick.
Yep.
With the consistency of these cards. Okay. Injured Blade Master.
Yep.
Reads Battle Cry, deal 4 damage to himself. In capital letters, himself, right? Yep. Why doesn't this one just say the same thing? But deal 3 damage to himself. This one says Battle Cry, deal 3 damage to this minion. Like, what? Why don't they just go, okay, you have another card that kind of does the same thing. Let's word them exactly the same, you guys, so that anytime anyone looks at it, it's very easy to determine what this is.
Dills,
why don't they just do that?
Maybe this is the way that they want to word it going forward, but they don't want to go back and change Injured Blade Master.
Maybe Cavaldeer. First of all, Dills, I've never wanted to hug you.
I don't like that.
First of all, Dills, I've never wanted to hug you more than I do right now because this is something that drives me bananas. I cannot stand inconsistent card text formatting. But that said, maybe Cavaldeer are genderless.
Okay. Well, then, fine. But go back and change the Injured Blade Master then. And let's just keep things consistent because I want to read cards and just know that they mean this. I don't want to look at them and go, oh, why is this one different? Okay, now I got to play them. And I don't want that. I just want them to say exactly what they do. And then if something does the same thing, I want to say the same thing. I just want that.
And maybe they'll update Injured Blade Master when TGT releases to match this. Maybe they prefer this writing and then Injured... But I doubt that'll happen, and I think it's just inconsistent, and this clearly looks male. I'm just trying to come up with reasons.
Let me give you the other example of this before, and we won't speak of it again. But this is another... So Effigy says, when a friendly minion dies, summon a random minion with the same cost, right?
Yep.
And there's a card that exists already called Redemption, which reads... When one of your minions dies, return it to life with 1 health. So why don't they both just say, when a friendly minion dies, do this, right? Just say that. So then they both do the same. We know they both do the same thing. Or triggered at the same time, or whatever that is. You know what I mean? Just Do that for me, Blizzard. Next time you're like in a meeting, just have a chat about that.
Maybe they just have so many cards that they truly didn't think about it. That's also possible.
I think it's okay. I think there's part of that, but Magic doesn't screw this up. I think it's just early on in the game. I think this is like the growing pains of the card game. That's the way I feel like it probably is, and I think they will eventually fix all this. But
someone out there's like, Hearthstone's like 2 years old. It's like we're talking about in the lifetime of card games. This thing's an infant.
This ends, but this ends up becoming important at some point. You know what I mean? This will become important at some point. So it's better to just be consistent from the start. So,
anyways, Injured Cavaldier. So it essentially enters the battlefield as a 2/1 for 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's the battle cry, so it enters as a 2/4 and then actually takes the damage, right? So
yes,
this will trigger Frothing Berserkers and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, and if you get it from if it's summoned in any way, shape, or form as opposed to being played from your hand, the battle cry is not going to go off, so it'll just be a 2/4. Are we thinking about auto including this in priests to give more value to the Circle of Healing early on? Is it that much value because it only has 2 attack?
Since it's 1 mana, you can kind of combo this with the priestess or cleric. I mean, so I don't know. Like priest doesn't really have a 1-drop outside of cleric. It's possible.
Yeah,
could see it.
Think about turn 1 Injured Cavaldier, coin Injured Cavaldier, Circle of Healing. Turn 1, you have 2 2/4s on the board.
That's like the dream, yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's a dream.
And then you can
not a bad
turn
dream.
2, buff them, and you would never lose to aggro if that happened. So it's possible this goes into play.
And the reason that might not be totally terrible is even if you don't get that, if you play this on turn 1, it doesn't get removed. Turn 2, you can heal it, or on turn 3, you can play this with a cleric already on board, heal it, and draw a card, and you have a 2/3 and a 1/3, and you drew a card. And I could see something maybe working with this card.
Yeah. And if you got Inspire cards out, things like that, then this, Injured Cavaldier allows you to use your hero power effectively and gain the Inspire effect if you have another card out that does that. So
Amber Fang
I think there's definitely some plays with this card.
Amber Fang in the chat room makes a good point too. If you have to resurrect early on, it's not terrible because you get it back as a 2/4, not as a 2/1.
Yeah, so Resurrect works because right now, like any 1-drop you'd play would suck with Resurrect, right? So now you play this, you play Injured Blade Master, and Resurrect is really good.
Yep.
Maxar says Hungry Dragon nerf. That's another good point. So you play Hungry Dragon, and then they get this.
And they get a 2/4,
yeah, actually, that's
totally sucks.
I would be happy to get one of these guys.
Not like Hungry Dragon was seeing a bunch of play anyway, but yeah. Side note.
It's just a fun card to think about.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, Jocelyn?
No, I think the only place it could potentially have any kind of worth really, Priest. I'm just trying to think if it could go in any other decks, but I don't really think so, except for possibly maybe Warrior, just because of the Frothing Berserker thing, but
yeah,
I don't
but
think
even then you'd have to have healing cards.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Warrior has plenty of ways to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't need it really, so
yeah.
It's I guess I don't understand. Yeah, Shaman with healing. But again, although Shamans can pick their totems now.
But later in the game.
Yeah.
Significantly
they also
later
have
in the game.
Healing, which turns it into a full health 2/4 taunt.
Yeah.
It's a fun.
That's 2 cards.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't really understand why it's neutral. Like, why isn't it just a priest card?
There's a lot of cards in here that I just assume are other classes. Anyways, next 1-drop, the Gadget Zan Jouster. It's another neutral minion. It's a common rarity. It has 1 attack, 2 health, and a battle cry that reads, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, gain +1/+1. Hey guys, Joust would have been so much shorter. Could just said Joust if you
Joust, gain +1/+1.
So you had a bone to pick with this card, Dills, earlier in the show.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're playing a Joust deck, which you probably are if you're running Joust cards at all, you probably don't want to be running any 1-drops. So
no.
That being said, this would be the 1-drop you would run, right?
I was going to say, this would be your only one.
But what are you hoping to... Are you crossing your fingers that they're running Target Dummy and Wisp? Like, what is it going to win the Joust against?
Well, no, but I mean, like, you're running a Joust deck, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to have cards that cost 1 that are minions in your deck. Because your other Joust cards could potentially pull this, and then you don't win the Joust, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, he just wouldn't run.
You want
one
more
drops.
high cost minions.
You'd want,
and low cost
you'd probably
removal
start
spells
your
and stuff.
curve at a couple of 2-drops, some lows, maybe a couple low spells because those don't count with Joust, and then all your minions cost a lot, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't run a 1-drop minion, period.
So we're just in agreement. So this card just seems awful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, for a second there, I misread that as like trying to defend the card. I'm like, what? Why would you play?
No. I'm saying there's no reason to run this in a Joust deck because you then have a chance to lose the Joust by drawing this as part of your Joust with other cards.
Gotcha.
Right? If you have this on turn 1 and you're running a Joust deck that has a lot of high cost cards, this will be pretty good because it's like a 2/3 with the drawback.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I'm misunderstanding the card.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's to me it's like if I need 1-drops. Like, actually, you know what? If I'm running a Joust deck, I want all my 1-cost, 2-cost, 3-cost stuff to just be spells, removal.
Yeah.
And then I want my minions to be big. So, like, all I'm doing in the early turns is removing your stuff, right? Because Joust is only minion to minion. It doesn't draw spells.
Right.
It reveals minions, right? So, I want my early game to just be removing the other guy's board.
So your Joust deck is going to be a mage.
Well, yeah, or warrior. I could run a Joust warrior with weapons.
Weapons, yeah. Any
Shaman.
weapon classes
Shaman has a
are
lot of
powerful
low
with
cost.
Joust, yeah.
Shaman have a lot of low cost spells.
Sure, priests have Shadow Word Death and Shadow Word Pain and stuff. I could run Holy Smites.
Shaman's
So
interesting too, or any class that has a spell that creates minions. So Druid, Shaman, I guess technically Mage, even though it's a mirror entity and they don't really do a whole lot.
Yeah,
or mirror image.
But just in general, if I'm conceptualizing a Joust deck right now, I'm just going to have low cost spells and high cost minions. This is like straight out with no knowledge of the entire set. This is just what I think I would want, and so this card I don't think I would want.
Fair enough. Brave Hunter is the next card we're going to talk about. 1 mana, common rarity, hunter specific minion. 2 attack, 1 health, reads Inspire. If your hand is empty, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. I don't like this card.
I don't like this card at all.
Yeah, well now we got a few cards that do this in Hunter, right?
Well,
the whole hand is empty
the
thing?
hand is empty thing? Yeah, we've got 3
Quick
Hunter
shot,
cards now.
yeah.
Core Rager and this one. So the problem is I don't think you can run all 3 of those because essentially having another one, if you have 2 of them in your hand at the same time, you can never get the effect off of both of them, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it turns your hero power into 4 damage, but I'd rather just play a Leper Gnome.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed. Love the art on this one, though. Clearly a reference to Pixar's Brave. You go, artist.
I think, this is one of my favorites, I think, of all the tournament cards we've seen so far. I think Brave Hunter's art is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The gold card, I bet, is awesome. There's got to be, like, flowy hair.
Oh, I hope so. And clearly a spell effect going on around the bow. And this is terrible for audio because those listeners can't see the card at the moment, although you might be following along on your fan site of choice. Next card we're talking about is a Druid spell. It is Living Roots. It costs 1 mana. It's a common, and it reads choose 1, deal 2 damage, or summon 2 1/1 saplings.
I like this card.
I really like this card. One thing that Druids tend to lack is either kind of like your early removal. You've got your Wrath, but 1 mana to deal 2 damage. I mean, most of the time you're doing your hero power twice or something to try to kill something off. And if you're going against like super extreme aggro where all their minions are 1 health, then you've got 2 1/1 saplings plus your hero power on turn 2 that you can use to clear off potentially 2 or 3 things. So I like this. I like the versatility of this card and the low cost.
Well, it's also like we were talking about with the Joust stuff. It's a low cost spell that allows you to deal with the board early. That doesn't count as a card that will be drawn during jousting. So if you make a Druid Joust deck, which runs Druid has a lot of big quality minions, right? So Druid would seem to be a great fit for jousting. Also, you got the ability to ramp into all those big minions. Having low cost spells to be able, you have this into Wrath, and then you can swipe and do all kinds of stuff to deal with early aggression. That without having to play early game drops in early game minions. And it's like you don't gain armor from this, but this is just like strictly better than Claw, right? Like just deals 2 damage without having to use your face, goes through taunts.
Yeah, you don't need the armor because you're not swinging with your hero with this.
Because you're not using your face.
Right, exactly.
It's spell damage. You're not. It's not like you're assigning an attack value to your hero.
Yeah.
So no,
I think we will see like ramping, jousting druids. I think that will be a thing.
And also, this is the first card today. There's another one coming up that makes me wish Hobgoblin was changed. I want it to work on summoned minions.
So you want Hobgoblin to do it on all one-cost cards or one-cost minions that come out of anywhere?
Yes.
Oh, so
exactly. That's exactly what I want, man.
Hobgoblin Dank Whispers.
We're gonna talk about a Warlock card later. That is the only magical world where that card is good. We'll get to that in a bit. Moving on to Flash Heal, a priest spell. Costs 1 mana. It's common, and it reads Restore 5 health. I'm not excited about this card.
At first, I kind of was, because I was like, 1 mana, heal for 5, that seems great. And then the more I started thinking about it, because generally with Priest, you're doing a lot of minion healing. And I was like, why would I ever include this instead of just Circle of Healing and hit more than one target? That was like, and Circle of Healing's free, right?
I like this card a lot, though, because Akanai Soul Priest is a thing.
True.
So I can turn this into damage, and I can turn this into 0 cost damage with Emperor Thaurissan. So, and I could double it with Velen. So I can do 20 damage with, essentially. And you might think like, oh, that's ridiculous.
Priest. You could Shadow Priest.
like you might think like that's ridiculous, but the thing is that Thaurissan has made the ridiculous totally doable by just putting a whole bunch of removal and managing the board and drawing, and then you end up with all these combos that you can actually play.
So you want Miracle Priest?
It's not Miracle Priest. It's like so Firebat's already playing this deck, and he's calling it Freeze Priest. And what it is it runs Mind Blasts, Velens, and like Spell Power and stuff. So it runs like Malagos and stuff, and it essentially just tries to control the board for a long time, then Thaurissan with a handful of stuff, and then burst you down from like 24 or 28 or whatever. So, So this essentially would be another card that would fit into something like that. So Thaurissan allows you to do decks built around this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
not to mention, Akanai Soul Priest just play it and then deal 5 damage to something just with this card's removal. Like, that's, Akanai Circle's already a thing. Akanai Flash Shield could also be a thing. So.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think of it from a damage perspective. I was thinking it strictly from a healing perspective. So yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You'll see it. People will do it.
Yeah, I don't know if
it'll be good, but
I did consider damage, and it seemed too situational. But you're making a good point. We run Soul Priest already. Why not?
Yeah, it's another card that activates Soul Priest, and then if it doesn't, you've got things like turn 4 Injured Blade Master Flash Heal it. So there's other things you can do with Priest, and they made the point at Gamescom that they just felt weird that Priest didn't have like a card that just said heal something for a bunch, and they don't. They have Circle of Healing, but they don't have, like, Paladin was out healing Priest, and that's weird. So they should have a heal like this, whether it's good or not. They should have one, because Druid has one, Paladin has one. Why the hell doesn't Priest have one? That's weird.
Yeah, that was a good point that was brought up. Although I don't know, man, Holy Priests, or Holy Paladins, and wow, they heal a lot.
They do heal.
I was gonna say, Paladins do heal quite a lot.
Very large heals.
Holy Priest isn't in a great place.
But Priest is they've always been known as the healing class, and they should have heals. So this card makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We already talked about Wrathguard and Totem Golem, so we're moving on to Lance Bearer, 2 mana neutral minion.
Wait, did you guys talk about Wrathguard at Nerdtacular?
I think we did.
Oh, okay.
Didn't we?
Did you guys talk about how you could shield slam it for 30 and
well,
kill
fine.
somebody?
I guess we're talking about Wrathguard.
I was gonna say I don't think we did.
You told me we
did. I don't remember talking about dealing damage to your hero.
Ladies and gentlemen, I Skype messaged Jocelyn earlier today and said, "Hey, did we talk about Wrathguard?" And she said yes.
I don't think I said yes.
I am screenshotting the shit out of that and tweeting it. All right, we're going to talk about Wrathguard, not Lancebearer. Sorry, Lancebearer, we'll get you in a moment, and your adorable little butterfly you're trying to catch. He's trying to catch a butterfly. You be nice to him.
And he has cute little spiky hair.
He's adorable. He doesn't look creepy.
And
like
he's actually kind of a decent card. So sorry, Lance.
He doesn't look creepy like the lowly squire, who's human. Anyways, Wrathguard, Warlock minion, 2 mana, 4 attack, 3 health, common rarity. It's also a demon. And it reads, whenever this minion takes damage, also deal that amount to your hero.
So, just to clarify what that means, whenever this minion takes damage, also deal that amount to your hero means overkill counts. So this was the
crazy.
Yeah, this was the point that. So if you were to fireball this minion, you would do 3 to the minion, but you would do 6 because technically you do 6 to the minion.
Yep.
And kill it, but you would do 6 to the face as well. So, like a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, 2 mana 4/3, this is OP," and there's like the drawback's not even that bad because they were thinking like Flame Imp, but this isn't like Flame Imp at all. This could definitely really backfire, and that includes like overkill on running minions into it, all kinds of stuff. So.
That said, if you play it on curve,
even if you do, it dies to other 3/2s, right? So even then, it's not that great.
That's true. I mean, if it's already out, but if you get to play first and you get to play this on turn 2, chances of you're going to be taking 3 damage probably, but hopefully you'll get to swing with it first. Granted, if you're going second, well, I guess you could coin it out on turn 1.
You could coin it out, yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem I see with that though is that the only reason that we play Flame Imps in Zoo, and I've always gone down to 1 Flame Imp, is that Flame Imp is a big deal on turn 1, right? But on turn 2, Zoo plays stuff like Haunted Creepers and stuff that actually kind of sticks a little bit, right? You play like Nerubian Eggs. You don't just play like. If you had a 2 mana 3/3, I don't think they would play that. They had no draw. Like I still don't think that's necessarily what they want to do. They want minions that stick, and then they want to buff them. Mm-hmm. And this guy just is a 4/3 that still just dies to a 3/2, and like still doesn't. I don't know. Like to me, it's like if it was a 3/4, then you might have something. But I think as a 4/3, it's just a little bit too weak, and the downside could really be a downside.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you make good points. Yeah,
the 3 health, I know we've talked about a lot before, just because of all the different removals that you have as all the other different classes that can take care of a 3 health minion, that it's not as powerful as it could potentially be on turn 2. Yeah. I agree. I think if it was a 3/4, it would be a lot more playable, but as a 4/3, it dies to too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it dies to too much, and the upside isn't, like, what are you trying to kill for 4? Like, what 4 health creature are you trying to kill on turn 2?
I don't know if you're trying to necessarily kill creatures. I feel like this is something that you just go face. Like, you just try to not take any damage, and then you just face.
But Zoo doesn't really just go face. Zoo trades. Like, Zoo keeps the
board. I know Zoo trades, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that this is a great card. I don't think it has a place right now.
Well, one interesting play with this would be to Wrathguard, swing face, and then Void Terror on turn 3 and just eat it up and then don't ever have a drawback. And now you have a 7/6. Right,
yeah, because I guess 3. if it got Void Terrored, that doesn't actually count as damage to the minion because it's just getting destroyed.
Yeah, it's not taking damage. It's just dying. So I don't know. I guess there's possibly some deck out there that takes advantage of this, but I still don't think. I don't know. I don't think you need the 4 attack. I don't think the 4 attack does that much for you if you're doing 4 but then taking 3 when it dies. You're really only gaining like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So unless it's like crazy aggro that just puts out tons of high attack minions and buffs them, and maybe there's something there, but
also
weird card.
Beware of using Bane of Doom now.
Yeah,
Bane of Doom something.
Wrathguards. Yeah.
Possibly get Wrathguard. Possibly get a 1/1 Horsey.
Felsteed.
That's Felsteed. Oh my god, that card. That's only in Hearthstone, right? Like, and the same thing happens like with the piloted shredders as more minions that are within their mana bracket are added to the game. You don't see this in any other card game. It's not like there's cards like this in Magic where it's just like summon a random minion. Hey, everyone, just crack your packs. I need a random minion, and it needs to be anything from the set and anything that was added after the fact. Like, that doesn't happen, and that's just so crazy. All of these cards that summon random whatevers get more and more wildly inconsistent as more cards get added to the game.
Yep. Well, maybe not inconsistent, but just varied. Like you still have to kind of look at like the percentage of time it's like kind of in this range, right?
Right.
But the range varies. Like so you have to start considering everything now because if there's a super terrible card that just straight. Like, what if there was a 2-drop that said lose the game, and then you're like, oh my god, I can't play Pilot Shredder anymore. Like that. But yes, the range alters, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep. We can also get this out of our shredders. So
yeah. Somebody said it kills 1/4. The thing is, the only really 1/4 you're trying to kill right now is Armor Smith, and that's only really against one class. I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it to play Wrathguard.
I don't think so. At least not.
Especially when I could just put a Direwolf Alpha next to a 3/2 and do the same thing, right? Like there's plenty of ways to do that already.
Yep. Let's talk about Lancebearer. Finally, he's gonna catch that butterfly.
He gets
guys.
his moment.
He's gonna get that butterfly. 2 mana. Neutral minion, common rarity, 1 attack, 2 health, and a battle cry that reads, give a friendly minion +2 attack. I did not at first look like this card, so Dills, you were just all about it. Because I read that.
Well, I just said it's an okay card.
I just saw like really I like it for arena, but I mean you're basically getting a 3/2 for 2, but 2 of that attack is going on another minion. And if you don't already have a minion on board, this card kind of not super
it's going
exciting.
to an existing minion. So the thing is that it's okay. It's not good, but for arena, a lot of the time you're going to have minions on board, and then this effectively allows you to trade better.
Yeah.
The thing as well, though, is this is actually give a friendly minion +2 attack permanently.
Yeah,
so it's not the temporary thing like the Dark Iron Dwarf and stuff like that. So
right.
So in a way, you could give it you could say it's a 3/2 for 2, but it could be like a 5/2 for 2 if it gets to attack twice with whatever it is that you buff. So
yeah. I disagree with Manhat Man in the chat room. Says it's a shitty Abusive Sergeant. Abusive Sergeant's buff is only good for the turn it was played.
Yeah.
If whatever you buff with this survives, it gets to keep that, unless it's silenced. But
so the type of deck I see this in, someone's putting it here is what's known as the Eboladin, which is essentially the aggro paladin because they play a lot of shielded minions. So to play like a 1/1 Argent Squire and then to buff it permanently means that you get now a couple of attacks with this, and you're doing all your damage, which is what you want to be doing early and often. That's how that deck gets ahead and stays ahead. So there's a deck that will utilize this. Decks with Haunted Creepers and stuff that will just kind of know they have a minion when turn 2 comes around. Those will be the decks that will play this.
Yeah, well, Haunted Creeper's 2 mana, so you'd have to
play
Lancebearer after
coin
the fact.
down turn 2 and then play this on 2, or turn 1 and play this on turn 2.
You'd have to go
that kind of
second
stuff.
and
Those
coin
kind of decks with sticky minions that are hard to kill off completely will be okay with Lancebearer.
Yep, especially if they have good 1-drops. Let's talk about Flame Juggler, another neutral minion. It costs 2 mana. It's a common rarity. It has 2 attack, 3 health, and a battle cry that reads, deal 1 damage to a random enemy.
Yeah.
I like Knife Juggler better.
Yeah, exactly. Juggalos. Yeah. At least we have another Juggalo to go on. But I wish this said random minion. If this said random minion, then I might consider playing it because then you're like dealing with leper gnomes and all like you're actually making sure that you do that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you might hit face, the fact that you might hit face means that. Then I don't need that 1 damage of face on turn 2. And I also if I do need it. No, not really.
Are you sure, man? You got to just get in there I'm a mage who doesn't know what they're doing. Enjoy it.
But I mean like the fact that I can't repeat that damage is really why this card kind of sucks. Like the Knife Juggalo gets to maybe do like 5, 6, 7 whatever damage you play that with combination of other cards that draw a lot of minions like muster for battle and stuff like that. This guy's just going to do his 1 damage and then sit his ass down and be a 2/3. So that's not that great.
Yeah, it's again not terrible in arena, like not the end of the world.
Oh, I'd pick it in arena.
Yeah. It's
a 2/3 for 2.
Its stats check out. You're getting a 1 damage. Hopefully it goes to a minion, but if it doesn't, it is what it is. You still got a 2/3 out of the deal. We talked about Fallen Hero. We have not talked about Druid of the Saber. So let's talk about Druid of the Saber. Spoiler alert, it's a Druid minion. Yeah.
What?
And you know what? It's not a beast. Because we have like Druid of the... So Druid of the Claw is always a beast in both forms, right? But what's the other Druid of the Fang? turns into a beast if you can turn into a beast, but it's not in the other form, right?
Right.
I want to feel like this could be a beast somehow, but I guess not.
Well, have we seen what it looks like when you choose one?
I haven't. No.
So it
so.
could still be. We don't
I guess
know.
that's true.
Because Druid of the Claw doesn't say beast until you transform it.
I guess that's true. I don't know what
Because they're all night elves, man. Elves aren't beasts, but once they turn,
Liz
they are.
confirmed that it becomes a beast. Okay.
Okay,
cool.
that would make sense. That's what I'm saying. Is the base card doesn't say beast. It's whatever
Yeah.
the card form it turns into.
Because that's
once you choose
important.
one.
That's important because I think Druid of the Fang decks are going to be a thing.
I hope so. I want them to be. Anyway, we haven't read what the card is. It's 2 mana, Druid of the Saber, common rarity, 2 attack, 1 health. Choose one, charge, or +1/+1 on stealth.
I think this card is cool.
Yeah, I like +1/+1 in stealth.
Yeah,
I
but
do
sometimes you might need to kill a knife juggler. So
Yeah,
you
that's
can
true, yeah.
charge into it. You know.
It's just 2 damage removal
Yeah,
at that point.
it's a bluegill warrior if you want it to be. So it's a bluegill warrior with the option of becoming Bizarro Gilbenstalker, right? So I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. And if you're playing a beast druid, I think you definitely play this.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get more of like a tempo druid that doesn't ramp so much, but just plays something good on turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just constantly is just like, here's another thing and another thing and another thing. And because right now, if you don't draw wild growth, right, you're just like,
You're
man,
Yeah.
all I have is 4 drops and 5 drops and 6, and I think that the Darnassus of Spirit like fits that type of thing. So
Yeah, which we're talking about next.
Garrett.
So let's do it. Darnassus Aspirant, 2 mana. It's a druid-specific card, by the way.
I like how you put the emphasis on ass in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aspirant.
Darnassus Aspirant.
Aspirant, yes. It's, you know,
I say it aspirant.
that's
but
what my rear does after Taco Bell. It goes for a sprint. It's a druid minion, rare rarity. I hate saying rare rarity. It's a rare. Let's just say that.
There
2
you go.
attack, 3 health, and a battle cry that reads: gain an empty mana crystal, death rattle, destroy a mana crystal.
All right, so here's what Google says: aspirant.
Aspirant.
Aspirant would have
Aspirant.
been how I said it, but
Well, I am from Florida, so I say aspirant.
Yeah.
I like this card. I think because you, as long as it sticks for 1 turn, because you have your, oh my god, I'm totally blanking on it right now.
Living Roots.
The keeper.
Oh.
So you play your aspirant and you get your mana crystal, which takes you right into turn 4, and then you can keeper, like, silence your own minion, and then it's like a wild growth with a minion attached.
Mm-hmm.
So I
think
like
even
this.
if you
I think
don't
it
do
fits
that, it's
really. I think it fits really, really well into kind of the current play style of Druid.
Yeah. But I
Can't believe I totally
tend
blanked
to
on
feel,
that.
I tend to feel like silence is still really valuable, so I'm not sure that's like what I would do. But even if you don't do that, even if you just get a 4-drop on turn 3 and then it dies, you still don't have 4 mana on turn 4 again anyway, so now you can play another 4-drop. Like, you don't fall behind by playing this on your own, right? Like, you can only get ahead for a little bit and then fall back to normal, right? So because the battle cry happens, like, even if it, like, the only place that this sucks is when it comes out of a shredder, right? That's the only time it really sucks.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling we're going to see, like we were saying, these tempo druids that are going to run more than just 2-3 drops, right? So you're going to do more things where, like, this, like, you could take wild growth completely out of your deck, use this for the wild growth effect for the first few turns, and then it doesn't matter that you revert back because you've got more of these tempo cards and not, I need to get into, turn 4 early. Like, I don't need that. I'm still okay without it, but if I get it, it's really nice, plus the body. Because, like right now, it's like wild growth you need, but you lose tempo in that early game, right? So this doesn't allow you, like, you don't lose the tempo early. You just have a potential to gain tempo in the mid game.
Yeah. And there were some questions in the chat room, so we should say, like, it's an empty mana crystal. I think we did say it, but yeah, it's empty, so you can't use it that turn. It's next turn that you would get that mana bonus, so can't use it right away.
Yeah, you can't, like, play this and then play Living Roots right after it because you get mana crystal.
Which I believe I said at the beginning, and I'm an idiot.
You did, and I'm sure you did. I'm just clarifying.
But it's important to note for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm envisioning a deck where I just take Wild Growth out and I put this in, and then I just try to get.
That's what I was thinking too. I really.
Drops,
I think
this would replace Wild Growth, and I'd be okay with that.
I think it would have been kind of cool if the Death Rattle said specifically destroy a empty mana crystals, so you could sequence it to sack this before using your mana.
Sack it before you have empty mana.
Before
crystals?
you use any mana. I thought that'd be cool.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But then they would make it more of a target because the opponent would feel like I got to kill it on my turn, so that they don't get to like.
I think it's already a pretty big target because if you can't use the crystal that you get the turn you play this, it's already they want to deal with it before you get to your next turn.
Sure. Well, I'm thinking of like Jocelyn mentioned the keeper play. Like I'm thinking of stuff like play this into Tazdingo, right, and then protect it, and then you just continue to like have this guy. Like there's a lot of 4-drops you can add in that can essentially like make this. It's like now I have to prioritize like which one is I think more of a. If I play this straight into Violet Teacher, like well damn I can't just leave Violet Teacher up because I'm putting all my efforts into killing the Darnassus Aspirant.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's still spells though. There's still low cost spells that can get through to this thing. I mean, Frostbolt, Lightning Bolt, Crackle.
But if that existed, it would probably already be dead before you got to the next turn, right? So
yeah.
But if you get to that next turn, which is turn 3 and have 4 mana, then you've got a lot of like options of really cool plays.
Yeah, you get power on the board plus protection for the Aspirant. That is gonna take some training for me to say that right. You have no idea.
Yeah.
No clue, man. Also, this might be my favorite art so far. It doesn't read super well in the card form, but it was in the trailer. This druid
it's like
champion,
a cool druid on the back of a
lightsaber.
Yeah,
awesome. I really dig it. So let's I feel like we're not spending enough time, but we have a lot of cards to talk about. So let's just move right over to Cut Purse, which is a rare rogue minion. It costs 2 mana, it has 2 attack, 2 health, and reads, whenever this minion attacks the enemy hero, put a coin into your hand. What?
Now the issue with this is it's a 2/2 for 2.
Yeah, if I thought this thing would survive, I'd be really excited.
Yeah. The thing is, though, if it was a 2/3, it would be broken. Like it has to be a 2/2, I think. Because...
I think it should have stealth or something, man. I mean, it's like it's a rogue. It's like it's stealing from people. Like make it like a 2/1 with stealth, so I can actually land to face it with this thing.
But okay, imagine so the card that's kind of like this card is the it's a card that got nerfed to a 2/2. What is it called? Oh god, why can't I think of it? The 2/2 that on the next turn, the first minion you play costs 1 less. Someone help me out.
The summoner.
Pint-sized summoner? Yes, pint-sized summoner. Thank you.
Okay.
And the
I thought you meant giving coins. I'm like, there's only one that I can think of that gives coins.
So pint-sized summoner doesn't give coin, but it does give a kind of a coin effect, right, to your first minion you play. And that card used to give 2, and then they nerfed it. If you made this stronger than what it is, and then... Because like if it lives to next turn... Unless you play some sort of a taunt against it, you will get that effect, right? And not only in a rogue does that effect give the mana, it also gives the ability to then coin something that enables combo. Right. So, and is a spell, and all the things that come along with a coin. A coin is really powerful. So in a way, this is more powerful than a pint-sized summoner in the fact that it gives the coin, right?
Which is really important to a rogue.
Yeah. So if it was a 2/3 and more powerful than a summoner, this is power creep. Like boom, here's power creep. This is what it looks like.
Make it a 1/3, man. All I care about is landing the damage. I don't care what the damage is. I just want the coin.
Well, true, but again, like the effect is so powerful that it has to be a minion that you're making a decision, like to put this in your deck.
You're killing my fun, Dills. You're killing my fun.
I still think it's gonna get played. I think you'll play it in an arena
I think it's gonna get played.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, an arena, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a super fun card. But it's not. It's like if I want this power to be able to get coins, and these aren't like Gallywix coins, right? These are like legit coins. The Gallywix coins don't. What do? They don't proc Galley. I don't know. They don't do something, right? But these are just like straight up. You get a coin, another coin.
That is my understanding.
And coins are super powerful, especially in rogue decks.
Let's talk about another card I really like the art of because I like hippogriffs. The Argent Watchman. It is a rare neutral minion. It costs 2 mana. It has 2 attack, 4 health. Oh my god, guys! Oh wait, it says can attack. Inspire can attack as normal this turn.
I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the trombone in here. This is
so I have to hero power in turn 3 to then get no.
Yeah, guys, because there's no minions I like to lay down for 3 mana.
No.
And then I have to keep hero powering to attack with this all subsequent turn. No, this is no. Do not pass go. Sorry.
This is the issue with the Inspire mechanic, right? That forcing you to hero power over playing another minion has a drawback. It just has a drawback. Like just it's built-in drawback.
This is a pretty extreme example, though.
Yes,
I feel this is one of the stinkiest Inspire cards we've seen.
The only thing that I could possibly think is in maybe something like Handlock where they're hero powering anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you would put this in instead of like Ancient Watcher because you can taunt it up and then, every time you're life tapping, which you're life tapping anyway, then you're getting to attack with something as opposed to Ancient Watcher, which you can't, right?
Yeah, you have to silence it to do that. That's crazy.
I feel like
that would be the only thing that I could think of that might actually make use of this card / mechanic.
The other point to that too is that's really only great if you go second as the Handlock because you don't really want to play a card on turn 2 unless you went second. It's fine to play one card before you get out your giant, but
and the other thing too is I don't think that this body makes up for that necessity. I feel like a 2/4 body is only slightly better than what you'd get with a bonus, which is a 2/3, and you're getting a drawback instead, right? So I need a little more out of this. Like maybe if it was a 3/3 for 2, because I feel like that's slightly more powerful. 3/3 for 2 allows me to kill a lot more things. Plus, if I'm hero powering anyway, and there's some a 2/4 body lends itself to something like Priest, right? But then Priest can't heal this before it attacks, allowing it to attack. They have to.
Yeah, you have to heal first. Yeah, you have to heal first and then attack. Yeah.
It just doesn't really work.
You heal your injured Cavaldier and then attack with your Argent Watchman, guys. Come on.
There you go.
Come on. Yeah, no, we're stretching. What does this card ask of us? A lot. It asks a lot of us. It's not a particularly exciting card. Let's talk about Alexstrasza's Champion. This is a rare warrior minion. It costs 2 mana, has 2 attack, 3 health, and a battle cry that reads, if you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and charge.
Hell yeah.
Start making your dragon warriors, ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say, and what dragon would we possibly use in warrior?
I don't know, guys.
No idea.
Yeah.
You're probably going to want more than one, just to be sure.
Well, but I mean, think about Control Warrior. There's already a dragon version, right?
Exactly.
Of Control Warrior, so, boom, here we go.
Yeah, so if you're holding a dragon, this is 3/3 in charge. Love it. I love it.
I could see a more aggro Dragon Warrior coming out too if there's a few more aggressive dragons out there, which we still haven't seen the full set, and there could be.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just 3/3 charge on turn 2 is awesome. So
we've got half the set so far. Approximately.
Yeah. But Twilight Drakes and then you've got Azures, and of course the Control Warriors are running Nefarian, Alexstrasza. Most of them are choosing between Ysera and Nefarian, and most of them are choosing Nefarian. But you could run all of them if there's more cards that. Because think about holding dragons. Now you've got a 2-drop, a 3-drop. Now the 4-drop is a dragon, and the 5-drop is the Blackwing Corruptor, and then it's you just power on every turn based on the fact that you have dragons.
I was trying to get my Shaman daily done this week, and a warrior running Nefarian just ruined my day.
Nefarian's a good card, man. It's just a good card.
I'm really coming around on Nefarian, which I'm glad about because when we saw it and I originally was like, this just seems bad, I still thought it was extremely fun. So I'm glad that he's finding a home.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Demon Fuse. It is a common warlock spell, has 2 mana, and reads, give a demon +3/+3, give your opponent a mana crystal.
Pass.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't want to give my opponent mana.
I don't either.
There'll be scenarios where I unhappily take this in arena, but beyond that,
Yeah.
I don't like Demon Fuse at all.
So think about like Arcane Golem. Like Arcane Golem is okay to give mana because a lot of times you're just killing them with it, and you have these strategies based around just like, okay, the 4 damage is worth it because I'm a hunter and I just keep pushing this button and doing damage, right? But in Warlock, giving mana and then your demon +3 and then it gets I don't see this. I don't see this working out too well.
No.
Nope, not super exciting.
I'd rather
also,
just use Power Overwhelming on something with a good death rattle.
There you go, Power Overwhelming, and then steal all that power with my Void Tear. That's
Preach, Jocelyn.
Let's do
Also, that satyr is tripping. Just saying.
Yeah. That's messed up.
I see this card getting almost 0 play. Like almost 0.
Yeah. Let's talk about Confuse. It's an epic priest spell, costs 2 mana, and reads, swap the attack and health of all minions.
Milkshake deck.
See, I thought Milkshake deck first. That was my, literally first thought. And then I was like, wait a minute, but it doesn't actually, steal anything. So
No, but it's messing with everyone's board.
Okay.
It's like screwing everything up, and that's what Milkshake's all about. So
art even looks like they're making a Tauren no milkshake. It's mid-blending.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Somewhere out there's an ogre that's just like, sign me up for that milkshake.
I don't know if this gets play in serious competitive priest decks, but I think it gets play in fun-ass milkshake decks. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm definitely... This is a
Brawls, maybe?
probably. But, yeah, it's a cool card, and I like it a lot.
Really fun card, yeah. I would say I'm on the fence. I'm falling off the fence on the side of this is probably never going to see competitive play.
Yeah.
But I like it.
So have you guys noticed the trend with epic cards? Epic cards are just kind of weird and maybe not good, but like they're kind of the funnest cards that we get. Like there's a few awesome ones, right? Like Big Game Hunter, obviously, right? And Druid has has all the ancients. Those are epics. Force of Nature's an epic. But then you look at a bunch of other ones, and you're like Lock and Load. That's an epic. Friggin', what's the other one in the set? This Astral Communion is an epic, right? Like, these are super weird, very hard to make work cards, and they're epics. It's just kind of like the slot they put those in.
Yeah, but they're also really fun and
it could be kind of powerful. I mean, if you have a super crazy tanky type priest, and then all of a sudden, you just go boom, all of my tanks are now gonna swing at your face for
okay, yeah,
you have a 8/2 instead of a 2/8 Death Lord, and then you're all of a sudden lethal.
There are
because there is already a
priest
card. There's already a priest card that doubles all of the health of your minions, right? So essentially, if you can get a couple of low attack, high health creatures to live, you can just swap them and
double
burst
health
them.
And then boom, yeah.
It's like priest bloodlust kind of,
Yeah.
So.
And it's only 2 mana, so you could set this up. You could play a bunch of spells to buff your dudes and then confuse. You can
inner fire and then you just blow them the hell up. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there could be
could happen. Yeah.
There could be some kind of finisher combo with confuse that I could see happening. So
yeah, and it definitely goes in yeah.
All right.
So inner fire is the one that actually gives the attack, right? What's the other one?
Yeah,
Divine Spirit.
Divine
Divine
so
Spirit.
Divine Spirit confused deck could be pretty
yeah.
fun.
That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting. So we've all flipped now. Now we like confuse.
Well,
I don't know if yeah, I mean, I like it for its flavor. I don't know. I'm sure there's a deck to be had, but it seems like it has to be a very, very specific board state. You basically have to have enough health on board to either get through whatever their taunts are, or they have to have no taunts on board, and you have to be able to swing all of that at face. Like, it's so specific.
No, it's very easy, because see what you do is you get stuff like Death Lords out and Mogushan Wardens and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, it's just hard to kill them, and then you Divine Spirit a few of them, you mass the spell all their taunts, and then you confuse and you boom. See?
Doesn't mass the spell silence all minions, including your own?
No, only the other guys.
Enemies.
Only the other. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And that's 4 mana, but this is 2.
That's
and Divine Spirit's only 2, right? So you can It
And I guess
doesn't
if
take
any of
that
your
much,
taunts,
honestly.
if any of
That's
your
great.
taunts
We have a
are
lot
taking
more cards to
damage,
talk
then
about. So Bolster is next. It's a common warrior spell. It costs 2 mana, and it reads:
You Jocelyn are building a deck right now, dude.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on, man.
give your taunt minions +2/+2 is what Bolster does for 2 mana for only warriors.
Mm-hmm.
They're really trying to push this taunt warrior deck.
Yeah.
It's dependent on if there's good low cost taunts that actually are decent.
Yeah. On its face, I'm just kind of very against super specific spells like this that only buff minions, and there's so many scenarios where this thing is a dead card that just does nothing.
But if you can get 2 minions with this, it's a really good card, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really the challenge: is can I build a deck where I can reliably hit 2 minions with this, and then is that deck okay if I don't draw this? So we just have to see if that's possible.
Yeah.
And right now, hard to tell.
Annoyatron buff. Love it.
Yeah, Annoyatron, sure.
Do not take this early in the draft in Arena. Stay away from it.
If you have a bunch of taunts, though, you know, because like
Yeah, late in if it's card
Minions
30
live,
and you're
yeah.
like, I've got like 10 taunts, grab this sucker.
yeah, and a 2/2 for 2 on something is not terrible if you only get 1 minion. It's not just god awful. But if you have no taunts on board ever, it's gonna really suck.
Yeah, I don't know. I like my spells to do something on the turn they're played, and you'd have to have a minion that was on board already, and then it gets the +2/+2 that you could swing with it for this spell to do something with it on the turn that it's played. So that's why I'm not super excited about it. But you're right.
Yeah,
You
but
make
you've
good
also got
points.
taunt givers in the game already. You've got
Yeah.
Defender of Argus, Sun Fury, and stuff. So you could take already existing good minions, buff them with those guys, and then buff them again with Bolster. So I think there's something there. It's just
Yeah.
we don't have the full knowledge of the set
Yeah.
yet.
Let's talk about Ancestral Knowledge. It's a common shaman spell for 2 mana, and it reads: draw 2 cards, overload 2. So you can get it out 1 turn earlier than Arcane Elect, but you're going to pay 1 more mana in the long run.
Yeah, one
Which
more
I think
mana.
you kind
but
of
pay
have
later.
to. Yeah, because it has to have a drawback to being able to play it sooner. You couldn't have it just overload 1 like it.
No, that would be OP.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
If to be able to play it on an earlier turn is just and fit in more stuff with it on the same turn is
Yeah.
too like Overload. If you look at it, it just works this way, and it has to kind of.
Yeah.
But you've also got now Lava Shock and stuff that can get rid of Overload. So
Yeah.
maybe it shores up a weakness with Shaman that didn't have great draw mechanics.
Yeah,
I don't think it really does. I think Shaman's fine without this card with some of the other things that have been added. But this card might make its way in. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonky on curve, but card draw is always good, so that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
People are saying it's terrible. It's Overload works this way, you guys. That's just how it works. Like if you think about all of the cards that have Overload, they overload for more. Like essentially, they make it so that the card costs more mana, but it's just you pay it over 2 turns.
Yeah, and we're in a post Lava Shock world, so that's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, it's a fine late game card. You play this like in turn 7 or something like that, and then you pay 2 mana on turn 8, and you still get plenty of stuff to do.
Turn 7 is just that is like freedom for shamans. It's like, all right, I already casted my fire elemental and remove something. I don't need to worry about my overload anymore. Let's do this.
Yeah,
and
then I just draw a couple cards and we'll see what we do. See what we get.
Also, later in the game, it's very likely you can cast overload cards and use Lava Shock in the same turn. So,
exactly. Yeah, I think this card is fine as it's designed. I don't think it's necessarily a good card that we'll see play because it's like right on the cusp.
Yeah. Let's talk about Argent Lance. And you guys will have to inform. I still can't tell the difference between weapons just by looking at them. Which class?
This is a
for?
paladin weapon.
Oh,
This is
it's
a paladin
paladin,
weapon. Okay, all right. I know it's a border color, but for whatever reason, I've never trained my brain to learn those little tiny colored borders at the bottom.
Yeah, they border the bottom, which is weird.
Yeah, every other card is instantly recognizable, but weapons have that just metal look to it, which I get, but I don't know. You could have themed it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Argent Lance is a rare paladin weapon. It costs 2 mana. It has 2 attack, 2 durability, and a battle cry that reads: reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, +1 durability. So it can be 3 durability if you win the Joust with your Argent Lance.
Yeah. Problem I see with this card is that it takes away my ability to really play Muster for battle in turn 3.
Yep.
And I think Muster for Battle is just really good.
Yeah, and it's about to get a little bit better too, because the card we're going to talk about, I think next, or maybe did you guys already talk about it? Oh no, it's next.
It's
the
next.
trainer,
we're
yeah,
talking about
Warhorse
Trainer. Yeah, next, yeah.
Your silver hand recruits are about to get even more powerful, so Muster is just, it's not going anywhere. So I agree. I don't think, unless you're doing an all Joust deck, because obviously we talked about how weapons are going to be more powerful in Joust, so you would kind of play Warhorse and Muster in a more traditional kind of a Paladin deck, or you're going to go full Joust and you're going to throw this weapon in there.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think you pick it in Arena because it's a weapon.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You just grab weapons. But I think it's just the slot it's in is tough to make work because of the quality of weapon that you have on turn 3 and 4 in Paladin. So like even if
I would say that True Silver is a little bit more of a, I guess, kind of problem, because if you do win the Joust and you end up with that third durability, then you're going to kill it with True Silver 2 turns later anyway. You're much better to use the 2 charges on your Lance and then have True Silver. Like the Joust winning the Joust doesn't give you enough of an advantage, but it does.
If
I mean,
Muster
it is.
Exist,
And it is turn 2 removal too, which is something the Paladins are lacking a little bit of. But there's also a lot of good, 2-drop minions in Paladin. So do you want to do one of the minions instead of the weapon, or vice versa? Like, I don't know. Like
I'd
I say,
rather
I
play
think
shielded minibot. Right?
Exactly.
Agreed.
You'd rather play minibot. Yeah.
I don't.
So I feel like it would be more of a traditional Paladin deck is going to be like one part, but this would belong in a Joust Paladin, and I don't know if Joust Paladin is going to be powerful enough.
Very good point.
I just straight up don't like this card.
Garrett has no reasons, just rage. Don't like this card.
You got my reason is the long conversation you've all just had trying to make this card work. I'd rather play Muster. It's okay in Arena unless you see it late and you already have a couple of Musters. I don't even think I would take it in that scenario.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a card. I don't.
Imagine the world where your weapons added on to each other. Like you would just like play this.
Just
and then
Voltron your.
You would Voltron. Yeah, exactly.
weapons.
You just add all of your stuff together.
Oh
like,
god.
holy crap. Then this card would be amazing.
I want the illustration of what that Paladin looks like with his lance with like a True Silver Champion taped to the side and oh god. Yeah, that'd just be silly. I love it. Let's do it. Let's talk about the Warhorse Trainer that we mentioned. It's another Paladin minion, common. It costs 3 mana, it has 2 attack, 4 health, and it reads your Silver Hand recruits have +1 attack. So this is not a battle cry. This is more of an aura effect. So if the trainer dies, the +1 attack goes away from your Silver Hand recruits.
It's similar to like a Braid Leader, but with a better body and only affecting a certain type of minion.
I feel like the stats are in the correct place for what you want this card to do.
Yeah,
it has
this
more.
card's fine.
It has enough health that it might survive. I like Warhorse Trainer.
I like it too, and I like the idea of potentially like coining out a Muster and then playing this on turn 3, and then all of a sudden you've got 6 damage to kind of help you manage the board and or go face.
Yeah.
Well, 7 with the weapon. Yeah, but like you've got your little buffed little recruit dudes, and I like this. I like this card / potential combo going second. I think it's pretty good.
Yep.
I kind of wish that they'd put it into a slightly different mana slot though, because I feel like we're getting real clogged up on turn 3 with Paladin right now.
Yeah.
You know? Like, think about.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like the coin Muster into this is good, but if you don't have coin, then you're like, okay, turn 3, like.
Which is half the games when you don't have coin. You know.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So it becomes worse if you're going first, which. Yeah.
Like I wish this was a 4-drop 3/5 or something like that. Like, that would be super cool because then it would fit
and
right
then
in
into
between.
Quartermaster.
Into Quartermaster. It would fit right in there, and you could really make a deck that's built around Silverhand recruits.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm building a Silverhand recruit deck, I'm going to put in Silverhand Regent, which is also a 3-drop, and now I'm just like, what the hell? I guess I know I'm doing something on turn 3, but all the turns before and after are going to be super funky. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like the design is a little bit weird for what it's doing, and when you think about the actual like how a game would work with this card, you can't say like, oh, this is awesome because of coin this into this, because half the time you're not gonna have coin this into this. Like it's just
Yeah. So basically, you just end up wasting a mana because you're gonna.
But I still think it's good.
3-drop, 3-drop, 5-drop. Yeah.
I still think it's good. I think it's going to
Yeah.
happen like more late game and stuff, though.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd like to take just a quick sidebar.
Sure.
Show's going long. We have a lot of cards left.
Well, we can push some to next week. There will be some more new ones next week, but I think you guys probably didn't talk about that many.
No,
I
we.
would really like to push to next week because it's
Yeah.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Also, simultaneously, it just got real lightning heavy here, which means I could lose power.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's talk about one more card then, because I think everyone was excited for us to talk about it.
Spellslinger.
Let's just talk about Dreadsteed.
Oh,
No.
Dread. Oh, you want to talk about Dread? Let's do it, man. Let me
It was
find
released
it.
today, so it's the card
Let
that
me
people are
find it.
thinking about today.
All right,
True.
Dreadsteed.
We'll talk about this one, and then we'll move on to the other stuff.
All right, cool. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think we thought news was going to take as long as it did today, so
Yeah, well.
it happens.
This again though, like you guys did more of a fun, lighthearted, not news heavy episode before, which means you didn't get to that many cards.
I do not expect
we're-
that we will have as many cards announced this week to where we will have this issue next week. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Whatever. Whatever.
Well, there'll be less news. Because there's not Gamescom next week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And also, we're not thinking the game's coming out super soon, right? Like I'm thinking the last week of this month. So
Yeah,
like
I'm in agreement.
between
I
the
think
24th and the
20
28th. Yeah. So I think we've got some time. And if not, I guess we'll just have a fun marathon episode at some
I
point.
was going to say, yeah, it
Yep.
might be next week. And if that's the case, we're going to see all the cards like just in time for next week's episode. And then that's just all we're going to do.
So look forward to your 4.5-hour episode of the Angry
Yeah.
Chicken, everyone, where by the end of it, one of us is going, I don't care. What do you think? Cool, next card.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Dreadsteed. So this is an epic warlock minion. It's a demon. It costs 4 mana. It has 1 attack. Wait for it. 1 health. 1/1 for 4. And a death rattle that reads, win the game. That's the only thing that saves this, right, guys? It's the only thing that saves
Such a good card. When it
Dreadsteed.
dies, you win.
Infinite value.
No, that's not what it says. Death rattle, summon a Dreadsteed.
Yep.
So it just
it never dies.
It just keeps summoning itself back. So my question to you is Hobgoblin changing, or are they trolling us with this card?
No, I think this is a fantastically designed card. I think that this card is friggin' cool. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm saying that it's cool, and it opens up some possibilities. And if the first one that comes to everyone's mind is Anima Golem lock, right? Because Anima Golem has been around for a while, and it's not played in any deck for very good reasons. Because it's a 9/9 that dies if you don't have anything else on the board.
Yeah.
For 6. And this makes it very hard to get that other thing off the board, right? Which means you're going to be forced to deal with Anima Golem. Or silence this and then kill it.
Which
Yes.
eats up a silence. And,
On a 1/1, which never
On
is
a
not
1/1,
going to
yeah.
feel good. Which you're
Which
right.
doesn't feel good.
You
Yeah.
are right. But Dills, how much do you believe in the Anima Golem Warlock? You know what you do? You ignore the Dreadsteed and you BGH the Anima Golem and you continue on living your normal Hearthstone life.
Well, yeah. But okay, so I do envision people are going to try to make this deck work, and I think it will. Someone's going to figure out a cool way to do it, where you've got like Dreadsteeds and Blood Imps and all kinds of weird, funky stealth cards and Death Rattle cards. Someone's going to find a way to make this work, and it's just a cool idea, and it's a fun deck to think about. That said, I don't think this is, it's going to come out of piloted Sky Golem sometimes.
Sky Golem,
That's going
yeah.
to be cool.
Is it going to be cool, or are you going to just?
It
be
is.
like-
It's gonna be cool when it happens.
So
It's
yeah,
gonna be a
Sky
weird
Golem
thing.
in
Yeah.
Warrior when Warsong Commander is there.
It's
and
already
you
on
just
board.
Pew, pew,
and
pew,
then
pew,
you
pew,
just
pew,
keep on
yeah.
pinging whatever you
Yeah.
want. Yep.
Yeah, because I'm running piloted Sky Golems in my
Garrett,
Patron Warrior deck, guys.
You're stealing the fun
Hey.
right now.
Hey.
Dills killed my fun earlier.
Don't
I'm
kill
killing
the
yours
dream.
now.
Everyone knows that when you have Warsong Commanders, you definitely want to run a lot of 6 attack minions.
Yep,
That drop
absolutely.
4 drops.
That's how that works, right?
Yeah.
3 or more attack gets charged.
It's a weird, fun card, and guess what? It's in that epic rarity slot, so yeah.
Yeah, those epics,
Theory is
man.
holding true. Epic cards are for fun times.
These are the cards, by the way, that like yes, when we're being serious, we kind of poo on them, but like if someone came to me and was like, well, what makes Hearthstone special? these are the cards I would show them. I'm like, well, here, take a look at this. I'm sorry, what? Oh, you don't like that? Well, let me show you this one. I can't remember what the other weird epic. Oh, let me show you Lock and Load.
Yeah. It's to me like I love that there's cards like this that are super weird and fun and crazy, and I want more stuff like this in every set. So here we are. Bring it on. Keep them coming.
Absolutely. So
imagine random deck games against your buddies, and you end up with this card and you try to make it work somehow. It's just going to be interesting and weird.
Yeah. So we're just going to have to forego crazy game stories and emails this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It is very late for me, exceptionally late for Jocelyn, and then Dills is just sitting there like, I don't know what the problem is, guys. I'm Pacific
I got
time.
another show to do in a second.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out. We're going to do a lot more cards next week. Big thanks to our patrons. You guys are the lifeblood of the show. Thank you so much for supporting the show. If you want to become an Angry Chicken patron, go over to patreon.com/TAC. You'll get access to the Skype account for the call-in episodes. If we do an after show, which ain't happening this week, spoiler alert,
nope.
It is late. It's posted there first. So thanks you guys so much. Thanks to our patrons for doing an extra episode every month. This week, thank you, Alec D, Dave S, Jeffrey W, Robert S, and Jamie B. Thanks for the support, guys. Also, thanks to the iTunes reviewers out there. Thanks to the guy who put so many N's in his name. I'm just going to say thank you to Ryan Bin, who said haters gonna hate. Thank you to LZ Steelers. Thank you to Majestic. Thank you to Pop Tart Dinosaur for having the best name this week and also leaving a funny review. He said, this show has it all. Less than Jake, Newfound Glory, Hearthstone, everything I love in life. We apparently would be friends, sir. Or madam. I don't know. Pop Tart Dinosaurs don't have a specific gender.
Well, if it's on Jurassic Park, it's definitely a female because they were designed that way.
But life finds a way, Dills.
That's true. Hey, look, females sometimes like to get it on with other females,
Or they had frog DNA and they randomly changed their gender.
Oh, that too.
Dills, oh my God. And also thank you to Venge. Thank you for your iTunes reviews, everyone. If you'd like the show, if you're an iTunes listener, drop us a review. We appreciate it. As always, The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and frogpants.com. All of our past live shows and other videos can be found at youtube.com/amovetv because I finally got to change the damn domain. Huzzah! Get our t-shirt on /salute.com. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. We are live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv and also on alphageekradio.com. Todd is insane. Go to alphageekradio.com and support that man. You guys should see him in action at Interchacular. It's crazy. Also, thanks to BrianGriffithMusic.com for our intro music. Dills, where can folks find you?
You can find me Fridays. We'll be back on the regular schedule on the Instance, and I will be there because internet stuff is fixed. So that's what we'll be talking about, World of Warcraft. Lots of news and things to talk about. I'm sure me and Patrick will argue about something. It'll be great. You can also check out the Torturecast, which is a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Giants just got swept in a 4-game series by the Cubs, so we're all very sad. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, so check that out if you're a Giants fan. And the Mediocre Golf Association. I actually found out at the last tournament, someone who was a fan of this show was at the San Francisco chapter's tournament. So
nice.
That was really cool meeting him. And so people who listen to the show do play golf. So if you guys do and you suck at it, mgatour.com is the place to check that out. There's a lot going on. New chapters opening up. We're restarting the podcast, and there's a World Championship coming up in November. So if you're into it and you want to be on the ground floor of something amazing, check it out. We have a little short story in golf.com, which is golf magazine. So there's a lot of cool things happening. So
shouldn't your tagline
check it out.
Shouldn't your tagline be a part of something mediocre? Not something amazing?
Well, our tagline is "Face it, you suck."
Oh,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Put me in my place. Jocelyn, how about yourself?
Best place to find me and everything I do is over on Twitter at GISGamer. I'm streaming on Twitch with the same handle. You can find me right here on AMove TV every Wednesday night doing The Gamers In, which is my general gaming podcast. But yeah, Twitter's the best spot.
Cool. Folks can find me on Twitter at GarrettArt, nomoonart.com for my graphic design portfolio, and on Into the Nexus talking about Heroes of the Storm. But what I'd really like to promote this week is Jocelyn and I sat down and talked all about World of Warcraft Legion.
How long did that end up being after we took the technical difficulties out?
Just over 2 hours. It was a long
Jesus.
cast, and we didn't even talk about the zones or dive nearly as deep into the lore as I'm sure you would have liked to.
I know, I got a little bit lore nerdy there for a while. Sorry.
You got a little bit awesome. I mean, it depends on how you say it. I enjoy myself a good WoW lore session as well. So everyone go check that out. It's on the Angry Chicken podcast feed because we weren't going to start a new feed for a one-off. So though everyone's begging for more, so who knows? Maybe we'll start our own feed. We'll figure it out. But check that out.
It was fun though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good time. Check it out. It doesn't have a name. It's just WoW Podcast. So go check that out. Also check out our sponsors, DogHouseSystems.com, where you can use the code TAC to get a 120 gigabyte solid state drive added onto your already totally freaking awesome gaming rig. We thank them for their support. We thank you for listening. We will see you all next week for episode 98 as we get dangerously close to our 100th episode. Until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!